Just want to go through and give you an example of how to update the projects. There's three things that we actually need for this. We need obviously the document from Trend with the new project information. And then the other two things we need is I always save the emails and the web pages. So what I'll do is I load the previous one and use it as a template. Here I've opened my previous one, Portfolio 103, into Notepad. I normally use Dreamweaver for this, but I mean it works with Notepad. You just have to remember to save it under a suitable name. So maybe to start with, it'd be a good idea to save that as 104, just to make sure it's saved. Okay. Right, the things we need to change over here are obviously the name, the text, I'll highlight that there, then the location, date, time, incentive, and obviously the questions. So to do those, yes Ricky, I'm prepping it, I'm also making a little video so you can see what I'm doing. Right. Now there's two ways of doing this. I mean the easiest way would be to just type it, but when you've got a big body of text such as this, it's probably better to copy it. So I'll do a Control C there, and I go over here. You have to identify the text. This is the only problem with working with the code. If you're not familiar with it, it can be a bit of a kludge to find what you're actually changing. So if I Control V that. See, with Dreamweaver it has a split screen, so it has like the preview underneath, so you can see exactly what you're doing. I'm just using Notepad this time just to give you an example, because I don't know if you've got Dreamweaver installed and it's a bit of a pain in the bottom to have. Right, location is already London W1. The date on the previous project is obviously different. So date, we've got there it says interview. So we want to go to the end of here, oops, just before the strong. So with date and time, things like that, they're all surrounded by these strong marks. So it's like strong, non-breaking space, and then the date. That non-breaking space is just to give it a space between where it says date and where it says the actual information. Time, we can manually just edit that. It's probably just as easy as to copy and paste that. And incentive is £85. Actually, if we just take the previous one out, £85. You see here and here. This is where on the previous project it didn't actually have a time in it. So I put them in just to quote it out. Let's just take those out. You won't normally have to deal with those. Just keep an eye out for things like that. Right, now the actual questions, name, telephone number, postcode, age, occupation, they're all the same. Occupation of head of household, let's put a go in here. they're very fond of not giving you the right information. You have to tidy it up sometimes. And they haven't got a question mark, but the previous question the next slot did, so I'll leave that on. And what brand of perfumes? This is actually the web page I'm editing. I always do the web page first and get that in place before doing the email. So if anyone, if you send out the email before the page is done, people start clicking, there's nothing to go to. So let's just get this done. You'll notice now that I've actually run out of questions. What I have to do is I have to copy this bottom one and paste that in. So I've got enough slots to copy the new information in. You notice on here they're just surrounded by paragraph breaks, which is got the P in the angle brackets, or sorry, the plus and minus, the greater than and less than symbol, and they close with the same thing, but it's got backslash in front of the letter. So that's that part done. On the web pages, you've also got down here, you've got the email part, the button to actually send an email. As you can see, it says mail to Dahlia at trendmarketresearch.co.uk. Subject equals. This we have to change to what this particular project's called, so she knows where it's referring to. Also on the emails from the page, I have this. So when they actually press the button, it will fill in the questions for people to answer. You can't do that when you're doing it from the newsletter. For some reason, it doesn't work. So the ones that come when they reply from the newsletter, it doesn't have this part in it. But we have it on the when they click the actual email button on the page. So you have to basically duplicate what we did above by putting in the questions here as well. The questions are separated a bit differently here to the way they are above. You'll notice that they've got this strange thing in between each one. There's a separator. That is basically like a line break in the email without data actually being broken. Oops, no. The last one on here, let's just see, I've copied another one in. this section is surrounded by these quote marks from there to there, the last question. That's everything on there. So what I do is I save that and I'll paste that into the editor, which I shall show you in a moment. Okay, before I showed you editing the web page, now I'll show you with the newsletter. Again, I've got the previous newsletter open here. Always the best thing to do to start with is to save it as the next number. Save problems later. Now, this has slightly different issues to deal with. As you can see, this is a little bit more involved up here. Again, as I said, I normally do this in Dreamweaver. And you have the preview at the bottom. But that's not always, obviously this is the most basic way of doing it. It's not always possible to work with Dreamweaver. So what we need to start with is to copy this text here, which is a project description, and we can see that we've got the project description in here. It goes to the end of that span. Now, what I always do on the email, but not on the web page, is wherever she's got anything in bold on her project, I make it bold on the text I've just pasted in here. Now to do that, you would put strong at the beginning of what she's made bold, obviously inside the greater than and less than, and then backslash strong again inside those brackets at the end of what she's made bold. Obviously you can do it this way, or you could just leave it standard format here, and you can actually just apply the strong and the to the areas within the actual newsletter. Obviously you quite often edit stuff within the newsletter anyway after I've prepped it, just to get it exactly how you want. So maybe rather than editing it here, editing the code, you might want to do it in the actual newsletter editor. Again, we've got the venue here, which is already correct. The date, it's Friday the 11th of October, so we need to put that in here in the date field. As you see, that's actually surrounded by strong marks. As before, the time has actually been quoted out on this previous one, so I need to get rid of that. And where's the end bit? Right, the time is, and this one is 10 AM. I just need to change this here. And the incentive, the thing with Notepad, it quite often doesn't wrap the lines, it just carries on until it finds the physical line break. This control character here, I don't know whether we can actually just delete it. I don't normally see that in Dreamweaver, so I'm leaving it in. It shouldn't appear in the actual email. If it does, then we can fix it at that point. Yeah, again, as you can see, the questions are a bit harder to spot in the actual code here. There's name, telephone number, postcode, age, occupation, occupation of the household. Needs to go in here. What question mark on that? The next question here. You'll notice in this email the questions are basically separated by 2 line breaks. The line breaks have obviously got line heights, styles on them, and font size, line height, which we'd already predetermined. This is going to be a bit of a jumpy one. Right, to add an extra line to this, as I've just done, you obviously need 2 of these between each line, as you can see here, but there's only one at the end. So there was already one on the end of that. So what I've done is I've highlighted and pasted this. I have actually used this line here because I've taken an extra line break in front and then line break on the end, and I've pasted that in, and I've made that into the last line. Scrolling down here, the other changes that need to be made. I might actually do a little bit further over this page just to check. There's 3 changes that need to be made. Oh, sorry, there's actually 3 things we need to change, but it's actually equates to 4 changes. The Twitter needs to be changed. It needs to have the name of the project there. If it's only one word, then it's just needs to go in there. If there's more than one word, each word needs to be separated with a plus. So you could put sent aroma, you put plus aroma like that. You obviously need to also change the page that it links to. These are obviously the links. When people click them, they shares on Facebook or Twitter, and then it provides the URL for it to link back to. Change the email here. Send. We're ready to save that. Okay, now we need to put that information onto the website. We've got the web page and we've also got the email to process. So you log in. As you know, you probably know the details to log in anyway because you're going in to send the emails. The username is TMS and the password is that. As I say, you should need that. I don't think you've probably got it saved as I have. It's only when I use my iPad to do this type of thing that I have to remember that great long bloody password. Maybe log in. Let's do the web first. As I say, I always tend to do the web page first, just so that everything's ready for the email. The email refers to the web page. You click on this twice for some reason before it even thinks about finding us the page. Right, we want to use page 104 on this particular instance. We need to make the page active. We need to make it into a pre-formatted left side image. Configure for search engines. We need to put the word focus in here. That allows the right drop down menu to pick it up. Change page name. This is Project Sense we're working on. Or Scent rather, sorry. Edit the page. Click on our friendly telephonist so we can select the correct image to go into there, which is this one. We click on this area here. We select source. At this point we need our document, so we go and open Notepad. Because it's got a .html extension on it, Notepad doesn't spot it straight away. I'm in the right directory already. We want this one. Select all of that. Copy. And when we go back to here, replace. And hit save. Just take this out of the way. You can see that there's a full stop on the end there of the incentive, which doesn't look right, so we'll just take that out. Save it again. This isn't really a true indication of how it's going to appear. These fonts look way too big. But we save that because that's the tried and tested formatting. Finish amending website. Things are running a bit slow at the moment. My ISP is having a hissy fit because I've told them I want to cancel, and also I've got the video recorder running on this, so everything's a little bit slower than it should be. Yes, I'm happy with the changes and wish to activate them. Let's just have a look at that, just to verify that it's all okay. Focus groups. Right, you notice it hasn't appeared. Give it a bit of a boot, just to refresh it. There it is. If we click on the actual apply button, you can see that it is everything in there. Unfortunately, I've yet to work out how to do this from the actual email newsletter. There doesn't seem to be a way to do that at the moment. Okay, our next port of call is obviously the newsletters. This is where my tricks of the trade come out. I always open a saved newsletter, and I always open one that I've already done. Simply because of the recipients on that particular newsletter. It's only marked for me and you to receive. I could select the last one that you did and then clear everything and re-select them. It doesn't really make any difference. It's just me being lazy, I suppose. Sorry, I admitted it, I'm lazy. Okay. Again, we want to select all files so it actually appears, and we want this one. Select all and copy. Let me go back to our newsletter here. Source. We have to highlight everything in here. Right click and paste. Then obviously these need to be changed here to sent. And the incentive is £85. This is the area that you're most familiar with, I would imagine, because this is the area that you save as. I'm telling you everything you already know here. Project sent, save as, and we preview it. What I do at this point, see, that control character does show here, so we do need to get rid of that. Just follow over here, project sent, portfolio 104, project sent, portfolio 104. So all I need to edit here is that control character. Now when we look at the source here, it has mangled it slightly. It doesn't mangle it to the point where it doesn't work. Right, so that was on the incentive, that problem. Right, so this is what we need to remove, this part here. What I will do is the files I'll give you shouldn't have that in there anyway. Let's save as again and do. I always use save as rather than save because I like to make sure, if I hit save, I'm never that sure that it's actually saved it over the right one. Preview. It shouldn't have changed. Everything looks fine. No, the incentive wasn't. You have to send that. And as you know, it takes a little while to do, even with two recipients. It's probably after all this I realise I haven't recorded any of that, so I've been talking to myself for the past 40 minutes or so whilst I've been preparing this. Doesn't normally take that long to prepare, it's just because I was annotating everything. You get normally about 10-15 minutes for each project. It's just the fact that you've got to do it twice in a sense because you've got the email and the page. But it says we've had that sent now. Send and receive. There we are. At this point, you would receive a copy of this as well, and you may add extra C's in that you might add the exclamation marks back in, which I've noticed it taken out more recently. That's for me. One thing I didn't go over, and as you can see, it's one glaring error we have here. I need to send this one again because this is obviously for females, and I didn't go over the fact that the call to action there, it actually says suitable for husbands. So we don't actually want it to be suitable for husbands. We want to take that particular word out. Luckily, when it's male or female, it's only husbands or wives that we have to actually change, or remove rather. And we have to remember to put that back in the next time we have a unisex project. So we go project sent again, preview and send. In the actual document, skip over that. I mean, it's right near the top. It's right underneath, obviously, where we've got the description of the project. So you can edit it there, or you can edit it in the actual newsletter editor. I mean, in essence, you could actually just open a previous project and change all this in the newsletter editor. I just happen to find it easier to do it this way. It also means that I've got a copy on my computer. While I'm at it, I'll edit this This is the copy that sits on my computer. I might as well have this correct. Okay. There we go. Actually, it's open like that. It's easy than trying to scroll through it and look at the window. Well, that's just a rough reference for you. Okay. So ends this sermon.